All right, let's go ahead and talk about our expression for today. So, again, I was trying to think of an expression that maybe related to how we feel about this kind of situation where maybe a lot of students are graduating, but it's not exactly what they expected, right? So, this was an expression that came to mind for this week, and that was to rain on someone's parade. So you might remember that a parade is usually like when we have a lot of people together on the street and they're celebrating. So we have parades for Fourth of July, Brazil, of course. We have Carnival. We have all kinds of parades. But this year, of course, we've been canceling lots of parades, and so of course I was thinking about we're all kind of feeling bad because we can't get to celebrate these things. So the expression rain on someone's parade means to spoil something, to enter into a happy occasion and ruin it for everyone. Now, who better, I think, to demonstrate this than the character you see here on the screen? So I don't know if you know Charlie Brown, right? You might know Charlie Brown. But poor Charlie Brown, he always had bad luck. So as you can see in this picture, Charlie Brown and this is Lucy, right? They are basically playing baseball, as you can see in the picture, and it's raining. And unfortunately, poor Charlie Brown, he has to get his baseball here from the umbrella. So if you notice the title, this is the title of a book. This was usually in the 1950s and 1960s, they would take like cartoons from the newspaper and put them together in books. And actually, my grandmother, she had a lot of these books, so I enjoyed reading them. But this was the title of the book. It's raining on your parade, Charlie Brown, which means basically, yeah, your happiness is being spoiled right now. So I was thinking about this expression. And so I was thinking about, hey, everybody in this group probably had plans. You probably had something that you were hoping to do for this particular time, especially entering the summertime. So in thinking about, here's our chat question of the day. So the pandemic has definitely rained on the parades of high school and university graduates, but also on so many other special occasions, couples getting married, people celebrating birthdays. I had my quarantine birthday a couple of weeks ago, and so many other people who had plans during this time. So I was curious. Again, you can use the microphone, or if you want to use the chat box. Did you have any special plans that have been canceled or maybe postponed because of the COVID-19 situation? And do you have any future plans that maybe you're worried about being canceled because of this current situation? So, so guys, thanks for sharing that. So one more time, our expression is rain on someone's parade. So again, you can say, for example, that COVID-19 has rained on our parade, right? It's rained on our situation right now. And of course, we've had a lot of terrible things happening here in the United States over the last few days. This expression is probably not serious enough for what's been happening over the weekend. So I would probably use this expression more like what we're talking about here. We had plans for something and they were kind of spoiled, right? So in this case, I would use this, mainly with, things that are not, they're serious, but maybe not so serious. Again, what's been happening over the last few days, those have been pretty serious things. So in this case, I would not use that expression here. But anyway, okay, well, thanks for sharing that with us. Okay, so guys, with the remaining time that we have here this morning, we're going to kind of finish up with the reading activity. And the basic idea at this point is to do kind of just a little review of some of the vocabulary words and to give us a chance to talk with each other about a couple of questions that I'm going to give you to discuss, okay? Now, in this first activity, we're going to use what's called the poll feature. So some of you might remember the poll feature is basically, I'm going to turn it on here in just a moment and it will appear on your screens. Now, in the poll, there'll be just a few questions. And basically, you have some choices that you get to make, and you'll get to choose the answer. Now, when we're finished, when everyone has finished with the poll, then we'll go back and review the answers together. So that way you can see what the answers are. Okay? Now, I'm going to start with about a time limit of about 6-7 minutes. Let's see if we need more time, but we'll take about 6 or 7 minutes to see if we can finish this activity. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the polling here. Now, in the poll itself, I took some quotes from the article, and you have to fill in the missing word. Okay, and then there are a few questions that are just asking about some collocations, words that we might use together. So in this case, you'll see some of the questions will say which words can collocate. Okay, so in this case, if you have any questions, you can certainly use the microphone to ask. But I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll now, and there are 5 questions in this poll. Okay, all right, so guys, the poll has launched. You probably need to open it or join it, and I'll turn off my microphone for just a few minutes while you take this little, do this little activity. Okay, so we're going to go through each question and we're going to see which one is the answer. So let's zoom in here. And let's go ahead and look at question number 1. So question number 1 says, fill in the blank, but Priscilla, who asked VOA not to use her full name, fears the ongoing coronavirus blank will have a major effect on her college experience. Okay, so we're looking for one answer here. So is the answer coronavirus stress, pandemic, uncertainty, or tuition? So in this case, the answer is pandemic. Okay, let's look at number 2. Again, it's another fill in the blank question. Rem said, they're not paying a $70,000 or $80,000 blank to sit in front of a computer in their bedroom or their living room at home. Again, this is a single choice answer. So is the answer experience, threat, tuition, or aid? So in this case, when talking about the amounts here, studying at a university, the answer is tuition. Okay, so again, number 1 is pandemic, and number 2 is tuition. Okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, here is question number 3. So again, fill in the blank. Students around the world still see the U.S. as one of the best higher education systems in the world and the American society, even with the current problems that we face, as blank place to be. And again, we're looking for one choice. So is that going to be a stressful place, an international place, an attractive place, or a traditional place? Okay, in this case, the answer is going to be attractive. So in this case, it's still going to be a place where people want to be because it's a nice place to be. All right, let's go ahead and look at 4 and 5. Now for questions 4 and 5, these are collocation answers. And actually it says single choice, but actually there's more than one answer that is possible. So let's go ahead and look at them. For number 4, it says, which of the following words collocate or go together with the word campus? Okay, so look at these 4 choices. Now remember, it could be more than one. So for example, is it university, medical, virtual, or part-time? Take a look at those choices for just a moment. Okay, so let's go through now and see which ones collocate. So for example, university campus, do those words go together? The answer is yes. Okay, what about a medical campus? Well, for example, here in the United States, often we refer to medical campuses as places where we might find hospitals and other medical facilities on the same land. So in this case, medical campus also, it can be a collocation. All right, what about the next word? Virtual. Can we have a virtual campus? Well, for example, in the early 2000s and into the next decade, we had a university called the University of Phoenix, which was an entirely online university. So in this case, they often referred to their virtual campus. And of course, during the pandemic, virtual campus means basically a place where students can go and find lots of different services. Now, of course, we don't have virtual cafeterias, right? So in other words, we can't eat online, but still we do have virtual campuses. All right, what about the last word? Do you think we can co-locate part-time? Well, the answer is we can. It may seem strange to say that we have a part-time campus, but the truth is that some particular colleges and universities may only operate at certain times of the day. So they may either share their space with someone else, or maybe the particular location is only open during certain times for the day. So believe it or not, we can have a full-time campus and we can have a part-time campus. All right, let's look at the last question. So again, it does say single choice, but actually more than one word could be possible. So which of the following words co-locate with the phrase uncertainty about? Take a moment and see which words you think. So we have my future, my answer, my past, and my hope. Okay, let's go through them and see. So for example, can we have uncertainty about my future? Well, that one is actually easy to identify when you think about the fact that nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. What about answer number two? Can we have uncertainty about my answer? Well, the answer is yes, we can. Oftentimes, when students answer a question on a test, they're not really sure if it's the correct answer. Sometimes they just guess. So we can say it's uncertainty about an answer. Okay, what about my past? Can I have uncertainty about my past? Well, in this case, we'll put a question mark next to it. The answer is maybe. Maybe. It's possible that maybe you don't remember something about the past, but generally we don't think of those words as going together. So it's possible, but probably not very likely. And the last one, can we have uncertainty about my hope? And again, probably not. In this case, this might be the one word that we normally do not co-locate together. So in this case, definitely the future and the answer. The question is, can we be uncertain about the past? Well, we probably can, but we'll put a question mark next to that one. Okay, let's move on to our next activity. Okay, so our next activity is we're going to be doing a group discussion. So we're going to use the breakout rooms for this activity. But I have two questions here that I would like for us to discuss in your breakout rooms. So let me read the questions for you. Question number one. Many Americans are beginning to question whether a university education is worth the high cost. What is your opinion? Okay, so here's question number two. The article mentions that many international students still see America as an attractive place to study. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? So again, we're going to use the breakout rooms for this activity. So we're going to take about 8 minutes. And again, I'm just to explain, the breakout rooms are where I break us up into some small groups, and then you get to discuss with other classmates those particular questions. And again, I'll post the questions in the broadcast message. Again, I can't really talk to you while you're in the breakout rooms, and you can't really see the screen. You can share the screen with each other, but unfortunately I can't share it with you. So I will post those two questions again in the breakout room at the time. So let's go ahead and begin now with that discussion. So we're going to begin now. Okay, well, thanks everybody for participating in that activity. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time to go over your responses to those questions, but let's go ahead and talk about our homework for next time. So again, in the Google Classroom, I'm going to post an activity where you're going to be asked to make some new sentences using the new vocabulary words and some additional words from the reading. So the idea is that you'll see the words on the screen. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen for just a moment. Okay, and in the Google Classroom, so again, in our high intermediate summer classroom. So again, I will be posting this evening when I share it, but if you go into the classwork tab, you will see week 2 listed here under the vocabulary activity. And I'll go ahead and just give you a little preview. So in the activity, again, you will see, put your name and email address here. Okay, so after you fill in that information, which I'll go ahead and do real quickly. Okay. And then on the next screen, you have to use these particular words. And you have to type in a sentence using these words in the sentence. Now, again, in the instructions, it says that you have to make a sentence using vocabulary word, but note you must use the word in a way that shows you understand the word. So you can't just say, I don't know what this word is, or this is a something. So for example, the word pandemic, you can't say, I don't know what a pandemic is, or this is a pandemic. That doesn't mean necessarily that you understand the word. So in this case, in this activity, you have to make a sentence using each of these words to show that you understand it, okay? And you have to promise, of course, that you're not going to copy it from some other place. So I want you to try to use these words in the sentence, okay? All right, so we're gonna go back. Let me stop sharing this screen for just a moment. So again, let's go back to the presentation. So once again, for homework, you'll be asked to do that activity, and I've given you a few extra days to finish it. So you've got until Friday, June 12th. So that's again in about 7 or 8 days that you'll have to finish this activity. Okay. Now, I also want to remind everybody that starting tomorrow, we're going to be beginning our TOEFL workshops for the summer session. Now, these are mostly just informational, so this is going to be a little bit different from what we did in the spring term, where I kind of had you do some activities. So again, just consider these to be overviews, really, of the different parts of the test. So we'll do a couple of exercises. And then if you want to do more, you certainly are welcome to. I'll post some activities in case you're interested. Now, this time I'm going to do it twice, one in the morning, so from 10 to 11, and once again in the evening from 7 to 8. So the first workshop is the reading skills workshop, and that will start tomorrow, Thursday, June 4th. Now again, this is part of the workshop schedule I have for this summer session. So again, Thursday, June 4th is the reading skills section. Now in a couple of weeks, we're going to do the speaking skills on June 18th. And what's interesting about this one is I think it's a good idea for us to do some activities with this one. I think you would really benefit from it. So what I will be doing is the week of June 22nd, which is the week after the class, I will be scheduling some individual speaking times in case you would like to practice a little bit with this part of the test. I think it would be a good exercise for you to practice with. And then finally, as you can see, we are going to offer a couple of classes into July. Normally we close for July, but in this case, we're going to go ahead and offer a couple of, at least a couple of weeks worth of classes. So in this case, Thursday, July 2nd, that will be the final TOEFL workshop, which will be on the listening skills. And again, just remember, these are informational workshops only. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. Our next online chat will be Wednesday, June 10th from 10 to 11, and once again, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And again, remember, we have a new sign in and sign out process. So in just a moment, I'll paste the link to the sign in form in the chat box. And remember, you don't need to sign out, but you must sign in. So you have to tell us what time you join the class this afternoon. Okay? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and have a good day.